one and all, and welcome to the final virtual stream. Alongside me today is Jason, and can you believe we are here already? 7 weeks been and gone, and this is the last of the season.
Yeah, honestly, it's flown by. Obviously having them weekly, it's kept the pressure up really.
And I think some drivers have mentioned that as well. Oh, I haven't had a break, I haven't been able to practice as much as I wanted to. And for me, I think that's made better racing. I know that sometimes you get a lot of time to practice, you get the circuit dialed in, and from there on it's very, very dull and boring because everything's already planned. Whereas if you don't have time to practice, it could be anyone's game. You don't really know what to expect. And as we're watching in this qualifying session, everyone, absolutely everyone, is struggling to keep it on the track. I should just say this is practice at the moment. Sorry, I did say qualifying. But this circuit is very challenging, and these cars are not easy to control.
Yeah, I think Bongo's just proved that really. He's had quite a messy string of laps so far. I mean, he is currently sitting second in the standings, just shy of 5 tenths away from Thomas's time. But he said pre-race, he said to me that he was going to struggle this entire race. Yeah, I believe him now. He doesn't like this track.
And, well, we got to address the elephant in the room. You're currently leading the championship. What are you doing sat next to me today?
I thought it would be a bit of fun.
Well, that's absolutely is a joy to have you, as always. I may have been a bit harsh on you in some of those podium interviews when I've said, oh, I don't want to talk to you anymore, spoke to you enough. But today you've decided, oh no, let's have a lovely conversation for the hour and a half I think this is going to be. And honestly, I'm very much looking forward to it. And I'm going to be trying to get as much of your knowledge out of you as possible. Bathurst, I think, is one of those circuits that you really enjoy and have a little bit of trivia about as well.
Yeah, so obviously this Bathurst is home to the Bathurst 1000, which they race with V8 supercars. They also do GT3 racing and that sort of thing. But yeah, really, really, really famous racetrack. Probably because it's so difficult and so fast at the same time. Like all of the sections going up and down the mountain, they're so technical. You've got to nail every single transition into corners, otherwise you're going to end up in the wall, and that, it leads to some really good racing.
Well, good racing. Thankfully we have not, as always, got damage on. It's only cosmetic, so we won't have any mechanical retirements from the race unless it happens in real life with their racing setup. Quite a few cars are sporting a steering wheel setup, but we actually found out only recently someone's got a VR headset as well.
Yeah, in fact, it's current leader of this session is Thomas, playing in VR. I saw the little notification pop up that when he was playing, it was online in VR. So I don't know. There's something to be said that it immerses you more, gives you that much more of a depth of field.
It allows you to be more aware of your surroundings, ideally, doesn't it? Because obviously with the view that we've got, that's typically what you would get if you're using just a screen. To give the viewers an experience, this is what it's like when you're just using a screen, and that's what it's like when you go in the cockpit. Whereas if you have a VR headset, you're able to look right outside of your window and even behind you. Although that would be quite a stretch.
I wouldn't ever recommend doing that round the circuit, to be honest.
I guess the only point you could ever dare to do it is on Mountain Straight. This is the second straight, this is the last as we go into Murray's Corner. But there are two very fast sections to the circuit, and then you approach the mounting, and it's just, honestly, the most trickiest piece of tarmac I've ever experienced. It's Monaco, but with vengeance. It seems to have some form of aggression. When they laid the tarmac out for this circuit, I think they were having a really bad day, because it is a very challenging circuit and something that is so unforgiving.
Yeah, that is for certain. Going back to that point, is especially on the run up, you find that a lot of the corners themselves, they're sort of off camber, so you you expect there to be a lot of grip, but obviously when you're going flat out to get that fastest lap time and being brave, it catches you off guard when all of a sudden you go round the corner and there's just no grip whatsoever. You sort of have to aim for the curbs to really keep the car in line.
Now, we're not mentioning too much about the times at the moment. This is only practice. This doesn't really mean anything except you get bragging rights at the end of the day if you were top 3 in all sessions. As you've proven in the past, this is also an opportunity just to have a bit of fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. Long Beach last week sort of proved that.
With your reversing around the track.
Yeah, reverse fastest lap. I think I win that by a long shot.
I remember
Probably
you were
no
so excited that we caught it on the stream. You didn't think anyone was watching.
Yeah, I obviously after the streams I'll go back and sort of rewatch it to see what they picked up on, and I think my top 3 moments from that actually made it onto stream, so that was the highlight.
So currently, as I said, it's only practice, but Alfie's in the lead, Thomas is second, and Bongo Cat is third. You did mention during this practice that you expected Alfie to have some quick lap times around here. Thomas has proven himself to always be one of those to watch out for, especially on 1 lap pace. But a bit of a shocker, AJ's quite far down the field today.
Yeah, he's 5 seconds off of the fastest lap. That is a decade in actual like racing time. I'm not sure where he's losing all of his time. If we look in the sector splits, got around a 4-second difference in sector 2. So I think where he's losing out is just being brave in the second sector.
In the aggressive part of the circuit, that is when you've entered the mountain and you have to tackle those iconic corners such as Skyline and the S's, and then that goes into the Dipper. And if none of that makes sense to you, don't worry, we will go on circuit and we will show you those corners as the cars go around the track. But such a challenging circuit. And we are now going into a 30-minute qualifying session, so I think we're probably going to see cars come out straight away. And, well, if we just quickly stick with Alfie, because once again, sporting their custom livery. This is a livery that they actually use in real life in their own form of motorsport. I'm trying to remember what the category was. I don't know if you can remember, Jason.
It's sort of like a mini NASCAR series. But yeah, AGR Racing on Facebook, if you're interested, you can go have a look at his car. I think they nail it every single time with his custom liveries. I need to order one of them.
And absolutely, give them their support, because they're giving us support by being as a part of these streams. They've given us some great racing action. And if for those of you eagle-eyed viewers, you can see on the livery, it does actually say thank you to GP Memes for hosting the stream. So it's so nice, and obviously a massive tribute to the NHS for all of the work they've done during the current times. So they are such a wonderful team, and yeah, please do give them a support on the Facebook. I wish them all the best in whatever series they take part in. To be honest, they're a good group of people.
Yeah, and Alfie, you know, he has a lot of potential. Obviously, being on the younger side, racing in that category, and then coming in and into this virtual Grand Prix series. You know, he has pace as he just gets wiped out.
Well, I feel like I need to apologise to Alfie. Oh my God!
He got wiped out.
And again, as
And
he
again.
just... Well, that is a sorry sight for a car, and that would typically be a red flag. But as we mentioned, it's only cosmetic. He can get going again, and that was only his outlap. So clearly he was trying to protect his tyres there, because grip is very much a challenge around this circuit, and your tyres do fade away very quickly.
Yeah, I think that was just getting himself warmed up in the zone, and then obviously other people had other ideas.
Yeah, clearly 30 minutes is not long enough to set your flying lap. You need to come barging past. I guess if you've got any aggression, it's best to get it out of the way during qualifying. And Bongo, nice of you to join us. Have you popped in just to give us a quick tour of the track?
I have, yes.
So, well, we'll wait for you to get to the starting line. Are you okay to do it in your qualification lap, your banker lap?
This probably won't be the banker lap, but this will be one that I can just take you through it anyway.
Well, I look forward to it. So as we go into Murray's Corner, I will now hand over to Tom. Take it away, my friend.
Right, so this track is a very, very challenging one, probably the hardest one we've faced on the calendar. It's not these first few corners that are tricky, but it's the mountain section, which Mount Panorama has become very, very famous for. First corner is a very basic 90-degree turn, it's as it is, but then you've got a very, very long straight down here, and then you enter the first sweeping right-hander, which you break down for and you start to climb up the mountain. So this gently undulates down here, and then as you sight the 100 board on your left, you break down, and you turn in, you try and carry as much speed as possible through here, and this is where it all starts to narrow up and all starts to get very tight. Racing up here is very tricky because the elevation changes will weight your car very differently as you go around the track. And you have the first very hard braking zone. You can get on the power very early there because the uphill allows the car to dig in and grip up. You hold the power straight up the hill and you lift slightly coming into this right-hander here, just to allow the car to grip up and go around. Gentle left, and then it's as brave as you can be around these next corners to carry as much speed as physically possible. They're all very tight and you want to run as close to the wall as you can without actually hitting it. And then if you try and avoid running out wide here, because there's a big gravel trap which will cause all sorts of issues for your car. Then you turn in here, you want to be as close to the curve as you can, you brake hard in seconds for the biggest drop on the track, which is down into this left-hander. You follow it round and you floor it out of this corner, you follow it and continue this downhill. Very tricky to keep the car all in line along here because the back end will want to kick out on you coming downhill. Then you power out of this corner as hard as you can into the longest straight on the track. The prime overtaking opportunity on this track along here. You've got an enormously long straight with plenty of opportunities of slipstreaming. The track will go up and down a little bit along here, but it's not too much of an issue. And it's then again, too wide along here will be very difficult, but you probably want to do it if you want to try and make an overtake into the next final few corners. You brake hard down, you try and carry the speed around. It's as smooth as you want to be around here, just to try and carry as much speed as possible into the final corner, which is the big overtaking opportunity, especially if you've managed to run side by side through that last section of track. You brake down hard into Murray, and then you floor it out and across the line onto the next lap.
Absolutely incredible. Thank you, Bongo. I think you might have been practicing.
That sounds rehearsed to me.
Would you believe that was on the spot?
Well, I mean, props to you. That, you know, it's such an intense track to be focusing in the zone. You're rattling off corners as you're going through.
This is really a track that I find very challenging. It's not an easy one in the slightest, and especially in these cars, they're very tail happy. So it is really hard to keep them all planted. And I think the race will prove very interesting. It may not be who can be the fastest; it's going to be who can keep it facing the right way for the whole race.
And we have had a couple of variations of circuits throughout this season. Silverstone, a very wide circuit, not much to worry about, but Alton is almost on a similar level when it comes to the width of the track. Both of them are quite narrow. As you mentioned, you'll be very, very lucky to get 3 cars in a line without one of them going off the circuit along this track. Brands Hatch equally has the elevation changes, but nothing as aggressive as this. And Le Mans is that endurance element. We did a special, we did the full day and night cycle. So in a way, drivers have been trained for this challenge, but there is a reason we left this to last. You need to understand how to drive a car to make it through this race. It is going to be a war of patience, definitely. As we mentioned and saw previously, Alfie getting shunted out of the way very unceremoniously, and everyone went back to the pits very quick after that. So only 4 people have set a lap time at the moment, and it is quite close at the top between Martin and Bongo. Not 2 people who generally get, well, at least Martin, not someone who really is known for being on the podium. So,
Well, so far we've not actually seen, so we will hopefully be looking to see much closer. The fastest we've seen so far has been 2:04. So at the moment people are just, especially with these cars on the hard tyres, warming up the tyres is a challenge in itself. They can take a good 2 laps just to get any heat into them. So we could be seeing some much quicker laps coming in the next few minutes.
So now on board with Joel as the car's in front, losing the back end. Jason, I've often said that you've got a soft spot for Joel, taking him under your wing and trying to teach him a few tricks. Have you been able to give him any advice for this race?
To be honest, I haven't like been on that much to be doing any practice. I think I did like a couple laps with Ollie and Joel at one point, but you know, he seems like a lot more comfortable compared to, like, say, the start of the season. He's got more confidence in himself as a driver, so I think that helps him to sort of judge his own performance a lot easier.
And one thing that's definitely improved a lot with Joel is his race craft, the ability to overtake, but more importantly, defend without coming together with other drivers. He really has come a long way, whereas he used to be very aggressive. He's still aggressive, but he's toned it down a little bit to the point where it's fair. Although saying that, he gets an amazing run going into the chase and just goes way too deep, and into the wall he is. Gravel trap, not doing much to slow him down there.
Yeah, I think that's a good example of the sort of line you want to be using through the chase there. Pretty much that apron off to the left side, compared to the car in front, I'm not sure who it was, but if you take it all the way out to the left on that apron and sort of cut across as straight as you can, you get a much better run. So that's obviously him knowing, you know, having some good track knowledge there, which is why he obviously gained so much.
And then the slipstream as well, potentially helping them out.
Yeah, that does make a big difference on the long straight for overtaking. Just hop on board with Alfie, currently setting the fastest lap of qualifying so far, a 2:06.677.
Which has to be mentioned, it's a full 2.5 seconds quicker than Martin and even quicker than Bongo. So Bongo knows the track like the back of his hand with that lap tour, but so far not setting the times in. So I don't want to put any pressure on you, Bongo, but I'm expecting to see you make a challenge sometime soon. And I think that silence.
Like last week, but I will try my best.
Well, I really did put you into an amazing position last week.
Yeah, I think one thing that I want to draw attention to is when Alfie goes around again, if he does go for another lap, show you sort of like how close you have to be on the actual mountain section, because it obviously doesn't do it justice, this trackside camera, but in the chase cam you can see how close to the wall they're actually running and how much the curbs sort of keep them from bouncing off of it.
And currently still struggling as they were in practice, AJ yet to set a qualifying time, so fingers crossed it's just a little bit of teething problems and he'll be able to set a representable lap. But we're now going around turn 1, which is known as Hell Corner. I don't know who decided to name it that, but it's pretty apt for the track you are just about to experience. Going up the mountain straight into Quarry Bend. And then that is when you start to climb the mounting. So a brilliant overtaking section down that straight if you can get it done before Quarry Bend. Quarry Bend slightly off camber as you previously mentioned, and then you're going into the cutting, which is this horrible, horrible elevation all the way, changing as you go around the corner.
Yeah, a little bit wide on the hairpin there. He entered really close to the wall and had got a little bit too close there.
And I've tried to master this circuit, as I do with all of them, but as I always say, there's a reason I'm commentating and not racing. I absolutely always hit that wall, and that gravel trap to our right is so unforgiving as we now go into the S's, an absolutely iconic part of this circuit, which then brings you into the dipper. If you're not careful, the back end will step out of you through there and you will go spinning. And with not much room to correct yourself, you end up being a cork in the bottle as everyone piles into you.
Yeah, just would like to point out that Alfie set a faster lap last time round, 2:04.3, but Thomas has absolutely smashed that. 9 tenths up, a 2:03.4.
So Alfie matching what he achieved in practice, but Thomas surpassing his own expectations, I expect, with that lap time. Or, as you mentioned, he might have been sandbagging. It's a little bit of a dirty tactic, if you ask me, hiding your true potential. But, of course, this is racing and the gloves are off.
Yeah, it just gives everyone that little bit of anticipation. I'd like to point out that that's actually, that is quicker than the current lap record for V8 supercars at Bathurst. I think it's currently a 2:03.7.
And
Yeah.
Jason,
By
I
Scott.
don't want to cut you off. I know you're on the line, but Ollie has absolutely come out of nowhere, 9,000th of a second behind Thomas. They're going to be battling each other around the whole track at that pace. That is phenomenally close.
You almost can't make that up. That is that is incredible. And
mean,
Alfie responds another 2:03. Oh dear.
So I didn't want to cut you off because I didn't. Well, you were in the middle of thought, but what a lap by Ollie. Obviously Thomas currently on pole, but Ollie showing anything you can do. I'm going to try and match it, and that is incredibly close. Around this circuit, I can't remember the length of the circuit. I'm terribly unprepared for this race. But 9,000th of a second, that's amazing.
Yeah, the thing is, like, obviously we can view it up here, but on the track that is like one missed gear change, like a slightly wide corner maybe, but that
The
is
tiniest bit of wheel
astronomically
spin.
close.
So,
Yeah, it
gloves are
really
off.
says a lot. Number 11 car facing the wrong way. I believe
Well,
that's.
This is
is
what we
that AJ?
mentioned in terms of
That's
the.
AJ.
It's what we mentioned in terms of the ballerina. The second you spin going through the mountain section, the walls are so tight that there is no runoff, and you do become a cork in the bottle for everyone to smash into. If damage was on, that would be exactly how people would lose out of this race. But thankfully, we don't have damage on, and so far, AJ's really struggling there, just gliding off the track.
Yeah, currently 15 minutes left of qualifying remaining. Yet to set a proper lap time.
And the back end
I don't know-
steps out of
yeah,
it through Quarry
I don't know-
Bend and
I
into
don't know
the
if
wall he
he's just-
goes.
I don't know if he's just really struggling with the car. Because I can see on the speedo, he has got ABS and traction control on.
Well, I mention it every qualifying session, but this is a race category for all abilities. Jason, can you remind me, are drivers able to adjust the setup of the car?
So I think we came to the agreement that, you know, obviously because setups can make a massive difference in how the car obviously handles and, you know, the lap times you can get. So we found that for like the first 6 races, everyone would download the world record setup, and you know, obviously it would literally just be running the same setup. So we've decided to come to the agreement that we're just going to lock the setups and pretty much just let the driving do the talking.
So it's a case of everyone has the exact same machinery, especially for this race. Everyone is in the same car. Let's see how you adapt to it, and let's see what you can do. If everyone's using the same setup anyway, by ways of just copying the world record pace, doesn't really make a difference to the drivers. And AJ is really struggling to the point where I'm not sure how they're going to feel going into this race. I wonder if this is going to be the most challenging race for them so far.
Is he pulling a me? Is he pulling a me at Long Beach or something?
Having spoken to him, he, like me, he does not like this track. When we've raced before on other games, we avoid this track like the plague. None of us like it particularly much. This is challenging for both of us, especially because we very rarely come around here just for the fact it's such a tricky track to get right.
Yeah.
As you said, we've seen good driver improvements throughout this season, and as such, we've put the hardest track last. So this will really be a true test to see how well people have improved along this season.
And I haven't checked the full catalogue, but I truly do feel this is the most challenging track that Project Cars 2 has to offer. At least circuit track, that is.
Yeah, I'd like to point out that we've got a surprise entry in the in the qualifying session, Harold Pierce has made an appearance. Only raced, I think, 2 other times.
Let me just
At
quickly check
Spa.
that for you. As I desperately try and find his name. So he has raced, I believe, at Silverstone and at Spa.
Yeah, obviously there were quite a few jokes that came out of that Spa race.
Rowan will
I think it
be.
was, yeah, Rowan. Speaking of Rowan,
It's currently in 5th
apparently
place.
5th. He's been wheeling that car very well so far.
And I am slightly surprised because Ben, someone who says that he absolutely adores this track and loves it, is struggling down in 8th at the moment.
Yeah, currently coming out of the pits.
Already damaged, so I'm not sure what's quite happened there. But he's
And
23
I think he has
seconds
just lost
down.
the car. Oh, I can see if you look at the speedo. Oh no, it's on now. He had traction control off, leaving the pit lane, so lost the car a bit.
So just lighting up the rears, having a bit of fun. So we're now up to 10 competitors for this qualifying session, 11 minutes remaining. They have to make sure they get out of the pits before the 2-minute 30 mark. That's probably the cutoff for an outlap around this circuit. Cold tyres do make it very difficult to get going straight away. And Ben, finding his way into the barriers, almost using them to guide him around the track. Manages to avoid that one though.
Yeah, as you see the brake lights coming up, I don't know if it's just a confidence issue or he was just testing out the car a bit, because obviously this is his outlap. But usually, you know, you'd be going almost flat through that corner.
And once again into the S's. What a brilliant corner, series of corners into the dipper. Does he manage to keep it? Hits the wall, but holds off of the throttle because he knows that the back end will step out on him. And now into a very challenging corner, Forest's Elbow, which launches you onto a fast straightaway. So you want to get your exit absolutely perfect as you come out of there.
And I believe we just had a new fast
Ollie,
lap.
yes, yeah, Ollie, a blistering 2-minute 2s.
Just remind me, what did you say the lap record was?
A 2:03.7 set by Scott McLagan in V8 Supercar. He has demolished it.
Well, obviously, the virtual element probably making a big difference here is none of us would be able to drive this circuit at the speed we are, given how terrifying it would be. But if anyone has the best chance, it would be Ollie. I'm sure Thomas will take that as a challenge. All of them are currently out on the track trying to improve. So let's see how the order shifts around a little bit. Alfie doing a great job in 3rd with Bongo, and right behind in 4th. So a second between you and 3rd place, Tom. Do you think you'll be able to make that kind of improvement?
I don't think so. Ollie and Alfie seem to be a lot more experienced around this track than I am. I think they just got the track knowledge that takes that little bit extra time to build. So I'll try my best, but I might just try a few laps, see what my race pace is like, and hope to make up places as the race unfolds.
And being currently sat in 4th position, that almost puts you into the dangerous spot of being caught out by cars and traffic into the first corner. Do you have a game plan when it comes to the start of this race?
Try and make it away cleanly and stay out of trouble, basically. If I can avoid any accidents, hopefully we'll not lose any place and I may stand to gain a few. So if I can finish 4th, that should hopefully keep me in my position in the championship. So wait and see.
Sorry, Bongo,
I'm rubbing my eyes here, Jason. Have you just seen what I've seen?
Yeah, Thomas responding.
So Ollie and Thomas going tit for tat. Anything you can do, I can do better. Thomas with a new lap record, at least as far as we're concerned, of 2 minutes, 2 seconds, 0.3. A little bit of rounding there, but that is 6 tenths quicker than Ollie's lap time. We might get into the sub 2 minute, 2 seconds.
Well, I mean, we'll follow along on Thomas's next lap, if he's going to go for another flyer, we'll bring up the splits to see if he has what it takes to do a sub 2-2. But yeah, Alfie also responding, getting a quicker lap time, I think that was.
Yep, he has
Yeah,
gone.
because
quicker.
he went quicker than Thomas, and then Thomas obviously took provisional pole. AJ finally making his charge, getting a 2-minute 4. That puts him into 5th.
Oh, he is
very, very close on the heels of Bongo there. 200 splitting the pair there, so 4th and 5th, very, very close. I think we're starting to see a couple of battles developing already, with 1st and 3rd potentially battling it through the race, especially when we get into the full fuel loads. Thomas got caught out in Le Mans because of his fueling and went deep into a corner. Jason, I'm sure you remember that and have fond memories of passing him. I wonder if that's going to happen again into Quarry Bend. That is where the fuel change is going to catch you off guard. The second battle to watch out for is definitely so far between Bongo and AJ. Two experienced drivers, both of them putting in fantastic performances in the earlier races. So that's going to be fun to watch. Two drivers that know how to race each other. And then further down, it can be a bit of a lottery, but so far it looks like Rowan and Martin with Joel on the hills, and then maybe Ben and Harold. But as you mentioned, I wonder if Ben's actually going to set a representative lap time or whether he's just having a bit of fun.
Well, 6 minutes left in the session. I'm sure he will manage to obviously put a good lap time together. I believe Harold is probably going to set his lap time as well, but riding on board currently with Thomas on his next flying lap. I brought the splits up just so I can tell you on the sectors if we're on for a sub 2-minute 2.
And whilst we're doing that, I guess I'll take us through the track. So through the cutting, and that brings us into Griffin's Mount, a very off-camber corner. Be careful of the wall, but going as close as you can. Bring it back to the inside, through Reed Park, and now you got to be ever so brave and ever so careful as you go around Solomon Park. Mind the wall, beautifully done. Stay away from the gravel trap. The second you touch it, it will pull you in just like that. And that has ruined this lap as we now go over Skyline and into the S's. Keep it tidy, make sure you brake in a straight line into the dipper. Once again, be light on the throttle. The back end will step out if you're not careful. And around these corners, which don't really have a name, down into Forest Elbow. And this launches you onto Conrod Straight, which is a brilliant overtaking spot if you can manage to get alongside. Thomas really struggling to keep it on the track there, exploring the limits. One thing that we normally criticise Project Cars for is the track limits, but with the walls being so close, that's not really an issue around this circuit.
No, particularly this week, we don't see particularly many laps being disqualified for running off the track. We see it much more for contact with the walls. There are a couple of places in the last few corners on the grass you will get laps invalidated, but this week it's very much keeping it out of the walls being the name of the game.
As Thomas was demonstrating there. Sorry,
yeah, also keeping off the curbs.
Yes, the curbs are lethal around here. In a lot of cases, curbs are not your friend. You will want to avoid them, as they will drag your car wide or put you into a spin. And interestingly, having just looked at the points, AJ, as he currently stands in 4th, will tie Jason in points if he can retain that position through the race. So we could have a very interesting battle for the lead of the championship today.
As we've mentioned it, I think now is a brilliant time to bring up the standings overlay. Jason has worked so hard on this. I hope you don't mind me bringing it up, Jason?
I'd say it's a wonderful idea to bring it up.
So, ladies and gentlemen, prepare for something amazing. Jason literally spent, well, really only just 2 hours working on this, but it looks amazing as we now bring up the standings. And unfortunately, me and Jason still have to look at an Excel spreadsheet, but for all of you at home, we currently have Jason in the lead with 123 points, but that is not enough to be safe. And with him not racing this week, Adam, Ollie, and, well, really just Adam has a chance, or AJ as he is known, will have a chance of overtaking you in the standings. If it does come down to a draw, maybe we should do some form of additional race, something to decide the championship between you and AJ.
Yeah, I like your thinking, like a shootout style event.
A shootout. Maybe we'll do something a little bit different. I can't think of what the formula's called, but let's do a rally stage, shall we?
Oh, yeah, yep. Rallycross, that would be a lot of fun.
I was thinking more demolition derby, see who can last the longest.
F1 cars. Oh no, the funny race we had in the go-karts around
Monaco.
your circuit, Monaco.
And
that was good fun.
Just to give everyone a bit of a shout out, because they've participated for 7 rounds to get here today. Ollie is currently in 3rd position in the championship, with Tom P in 4th. Thomas, the late starter to this season, only joined in the Le Mans race, so he had 3 races that he did not start at, which really compromised his points, but he quickly rised up the rankings, currently in 5th position, followed by Alfie, another driver who really has started to shine. Only really achieved 4th or 5th in the first couple of races, but then we got to Spa and he just lit up, managing to secure 2 4th positions and then his first podium at Long Beach. Ben, he's been a consistent member, of course, the man behind GP memes. He's been here from the beginning. He did miss out a race to go golfing though. I'm sure he had a great time, but we missed him. And Max, not with us here today, unfortunately. Then we have Martin in 9th position with a solid 30 points, and Joel very, very close on the hills. So those two close on the track, they're also close in the championship. And following that we have Tom E with Rowan and Ruben, 2 drivers who deserve more love than they get, I would say. But for now, I think that'll round off the standings for now as we wait to see how the race unfolds.
Yeah, I think Adam currently, or I keep saying Adam, he prefers AJ, but yeah, AJ currently came out the pits. I think he had 2 minutes left when he exited the pits. I don't think he'll have enough time to get another flying lap in.
But he is currently in 4th, and that is ahead of Bongo, so I don't want to ask him, I want to leave him to concentrate, but Bongo probably doing everything he can to gain, but he has a lot of time to gain, 1 minute and 1/10. As we see 4 cars currently in the pit, so they think they're done. Thomas has cooled at the end, so I'm not sure if he accidentally went off around the track and had to cool it there. But Ollie, potentially still on a flyer, as we're still on board with Bongo as he comes around the final corner. Let's see what lap time he has achieved.
I don't think I'm going to be taking any positions this time. I'm just seeing what sort of race pace I can hold up this time round. So I'd quite happily take 5th place this time and see if I can make up some positions during the race.
So very sensibly using the time remaining to prepare himself for the massive changes that take place on the car. And Harold, unfortunately, going off into the chase once again. He's got a very happy rear end there, wagging all over the place. But
yeah,
I'm sure
that's going to do it for his qualifying session. Ben
I'm sure that
setting
lap time will be disqualified as well.
Yeah, that'll do it for his session. Ben also responding, going, I think that's 8 seconds up on his lap time he had previously. So that'll bring him into a fight with Harold Pearce throughout the race, I'm pretty sure.
So not too much chaos, but Alfie actually in 2nd place. I don't know if we caught that.
No, he just went faster. I believe that was on his last flyer.
So we really are going to see a battle between Alfie and Ollie at the very least. Thomas hopefully won't run away into the distance, but one single mistake, as we saw, he got caught by the gravel trap. If that happens during the race, especially on the first lap, he's going to have a lot of work to do to regain the lead. And
Yeah,
AJ, thinking of the championship here, he doesn't need to win the race, but he does need to come on the podium.
Yeah, I am looking forward to this. I think the nerves will be getting to them now. I don't know if that will affect Thomas in any way. His race pace may be a bit slower as he's like trying to be more consistent.
So correct me if I'm wrong, the top 3 all breaking the lap record at the moment.
Top 4 actually. AJ 1/10 quicker than the real life lap record.
So brilliant, brilliant stuff from our drivers. the top 4 really showing their class today. AJ, although with all of his troubles, managing to put in a great position, and Bongo as well. Tom, I think this is the point where we need to say goodbye to you so that you can resume your racing role as you're effectively the clerk of the course for today, and we'll be launching the race session.
Yes, I'll go and make sure all the other drivers are up to speed, and then we will begin the race.
All right, well, good luck, take care, and pass on our best to everyone else racing today.
I will. Have a good one.
Okay.
Accidentally, I moved myself. I went to move Bongo and moved myself.
I wondered why there were 2 notifications.
A slip-up on my part.
Real quick though, Ben actually responded on his last flyer there. Moves himself up into a much more respectable lap time. 9th position. 2 seconds off the fastest lap of Martin there.
Okay, well, it's time to get everyone excited and ready for this race. Welcome, one and all, to Bathurst, home to the Bathurst 1000 and now home to the Virtual Grand Prix final. 10 competitors have made it through the 7 rounds to get here today. The 8th round will decide the championship. Jason currently not racing. AJ doing everything he can to get the points he needs to get into 2nd. The first counterclockwise circuit of the season, and what a challenge it's going to be. Qualifying in 1st position, Thomas was absolutely unbeatable. But Alfie, Ollie and AJ in that order, all beating the lap record. The top 4 are going to be challenging each other around this amazing circuit. Bongo doing everything he could to catch up with AJ. He'll be starting 5th on the grid. Joel, another contender in this race. He has got to do everything he can to stay ahead of Martin and Rowan for the championship's sake. Rowan starting in 7th with Martin in 8th. Last row of the grid is Ben with a surprise entrant, Harold, coming partway through qualifying. And I love the camera work you're doing here, Jason, as we now relax, take note, and just relax a little bit before the start of this race. The quiet before the storm, it's going to be chaotic.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see Hell Corner really earn its name. People can't get slowed down in time.
And it's such a short run into the first corner. I don't know what they'll be thinking. Thomas with the inside line, Alfie on the outside. That'll potentially give him a better run. But obviously, Thomas has track position, so it's going to be impressive watching those two go through. Fingers crossed everyone keeps it clean. We do not want any contact. We want racing to take place over this. How many laps are we doing today? 14 lap race. And the lights are flashing. We are syncing. We are getting ready for the start. If you didn't get a cup of tea, it's too late. Let's go racing. Thomas getting a great start. And at the back, Harold immediately going into Ben. Thomas really running away with that. Ollie also keeping his position. And I'm not sure who was challenging AJ there, but the top 4 get away cleanly. And there is major contact in the back with Harold going flying all over the place, drifting his car. He cannot get it in the direction he wants it to go. But going up into Quarry Bend, Thomas with half a second lead on Alfie. And further back, Ollie and AJ maintaining their position. So Thomas drifting a little bit wide through Quarry Bend. Alfie catching up to the back, but not close enough to make a dive. Although, are they as they go into the cutting? Contact between Alfie and Thomas. Thomas managing to keep it in a straight line. So thankfully, no one stopping and cluttering the track. That would have been absolutely terrible. That would have needed a race start. Alfie doing his best to stick out of the wall. And further back, Joel is into 3rd, Bongo's in 4th. So what's happened to AJ as he's managed to lose a couple of positions there on this opening lap?
Yeah, I was going to bring it up that Joel had managed to get himself into a podium position.
And look at him as
That's
he goes
a great
over
start from Joel.
into the S's, down into the dipper. He is doing an amazing job. But there is a battle between Thomas and Alfie. Only 2 attempts between the pair. Alfie may be looking for a lunge, but thinks better of it into elbows, Forrest's elbow. Wrong way round. But does he get the launch? He is in the slipstream. 3 attempts between them. Let's watch the split. Does it start to come down? It does. Only by a couple of attempts, though, or a couple of hundredths, I must say. But the cutting.
If he can get it right on this run up to this this complex here. Take no curb, get a good launch out. Slight lock up from Thomas there.
And both of them getting away cleanly. Thomas with the better of it. So Alfie's going to have to start to calm down a little bit. There will be an opportunity as we go into Murray's corner. Both of them drifting wide. Thomas with a massive slip there. And Alfie now on the inside as we go into Hell corner. They are going to be side by side. Alfie with race track position. They make contact as Alfie gives him a little bit of a nudge. But Thomas is not letting the position go. Catches the rear of Alfie. But they do not spin. Both of them keeping control. A little bit closer from Thomas. Clearly he did not want to lose that position.
Yeah, that was a prime example of running side by side where there just wasn't enough room. He sort of closed up on his rear quarter. They did very well not to crash there, as Joel is currently coming back into the picture.
So we've given him stick throughout the whole of this championship, but look who is now in third position. Can he claim his third podium? Bongo's going to be chasing after him. But Joel, so far, the standout star so far. We don't have vote for your driver of the day, but if he can manage to keep this up, I know who's going to be getting my vote. Alfie starting to pull a bit of a lead on Thomas there. So clearly Thomas struggling a little bit with the fuel loading of the car. Joel running a bit wide onto the gravel, but gets away with it as we now go into the S's once again.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the splits currently. Bongo, before we ran into the tighter section at the top of the mountain, he was around 3.5 seconds behind. He's now 4.5 seconds behind. Joel is pulling away. And behind him, AJ,
So
6 seconds, he's falling back.
So we have a battle up front currently between Alfie and Thomas, but further back, the midfield, as always, giving us plenty to watch. Martin currently 18 seconds behind 5th place, so the back half of the field have really fallen away. Ben managing to get up into 7th position from on the last row of the grid. And we're now on board with, I believe, Ollie behind him. Which we haven't mentioned, actually, Ollie being this far back down the grid. He's battling for 7th position after being so far up the grid in qualifying. I don't know what happened to his race pace. Going into the chase, takes the inside line, barges Ben off a little bit, and Ben responds by giving him a pit manoeuvre. But Ollie does maintain the position. I wonder what Ben's going to do going into Murray's corner. I hope he keeps it clean.
Yeah, that was quite a brave move from Ollie there. I call it brave. That wasn't really the best move I've seen him do. I think he got lucky there that Ben didn't give him the full Spinella treatment and send him all the way around.
And maybe frustration showing there because Ollie had such an amazing qualifying, and to find himself down, we missed what happened to him. But he must be really upset with his current position. Obviously battling his way back up the grid. It's a long race, as we've only currently had 3 laps so far, and there's been so much chaos taking place. And Joel goes into
second!
What is going on? Thomas in 3rd position. Joel having an amazing race in 2nd.
I believe that was a mistake from Thomas. You can see the bumper hanging off there as he loses the back end.
And that's allowed Bongo to come and catch up side by side, and he does get the overtake done. Martin also there now, or AJ I should say there now as well. And Thomas once again sliding as we go into Forest Elbow. The long straight is going to give AJ a chance to overtake. What is going on for Thomas? He's having an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, he's struggling a lot to keep that car pointed the right way.
But I think Thomas is actually going to have a run up onto Bongo at the moment. So we have 3 cars, all of them with a slipstream, all of them gaining. And as we say that, oh no! What has just happened? AJ just being gifted 4th position by Thomas. Bongo managing to keep his position, but he also went off the track. Already the tyres are starting to fade.
Yeah, I think that slipstream really caught him off guard there as AJ pulls alongside and gets ahead of Bongo.
Gets the job done before Hell Corner. Very smart move. And up ahead, Joel is currently struggling, going a little bit too wide into Hell Corner. But doing an amazing job in second position. Alfie has got the perfect race start, currently 6 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. He's out of this chaos, and all he needs to do is keep his head down. You mentioned that he's on the younger side, but he's showing his wisdom already.
Yeah, that is very, very, very impressive from him. Getting the moves done early, hoping that obviously everyone else gets held up, because currently there's going to be a battle here, a four-way battle between Joel, AJ, Bongo and Thomas.
So let's stick on board with this as we watch him come through. Contact with the wall, but they're all making contact, so no one's gaining an advantage. Bongo up in front, trying to gain on AJ. The brake lights come on, a heavy contact for Bongo, heavy contact for Thomas, and this is giving AJ the opportunity to pull away slightly.
Yeah, I think Joel's mindset right now will be hoping that they hold each other up, which I expect will happen if they start to battle through this midsection.
I mean, for Joel's sake, I hope he doesn't look at the standings, because that's probably going to distract him and make him more nervous, and the last thing you need going around this track is any extra pressure.
Yeah, Thomas just really, really, really struggling here. Joel's still about a second, more than a second up on AJ. He's coming down slowly though.
He's coming down slowly, but one thing we haven't mentioned yet is strategies. Do we think we'll be seeing any pit stops in this race?
I don't believe there will be a pit stop. I think if people feel that they're losing pace, like especially Thomas there, losing the car a lot, maybe due to tyre wear and just overheating the tyres, I think we might see them try and pit.
And this is AJ on the move with Joel, side by side down the start-finish straight as we go into Hell's Corner. Joel got the outside line, he can brake a little bit later, and he does, and he keeps that position. What amazing defending, but AJ never going to give it up. He is now, and they're making contact as they go into the wall. So unfortunate on this narrow track.
Yeah, I think they're both at fault for that.
But Joel currently in front of AJ, and this has allowed Bongo to get right on the hills as we go into Quarry Bend once again for the 5th time. Joel on the outside, and the camber really threw him away from that corner, and now Thomas is going to be on the back of Joel. So from second position, he's now found himself into 4th, but he's had the pace to maintain it. I think if he keeps a sensible head, he can certainly challenge Bongo and AJ for those 2nd and 3rd positions.
Yeah, I think he's got to rely on Bongo and AJ to maybe fight a bit as he just brushes the wall there.
Well, he's defending heavily against Thomas, which is compromising his racing line, but he is so fast going through this hill mountain section.
Yeah, I am very impressed with the standard of racing we're seeing right now.
There's a little bit of contact, but you expect that in these styles of cars. And so far, AJ starting to pull a bit of a lead on Bongo now that he's got some clear air. I think everyone's just pulled away a little bit just to give themselves a breather before we get back into the action. But Bongo, this is his view as he watches AJ pull away down the Conrod Straight. And further back, I wonder what Joel's view is. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, it's around the same sort of gap they've got to each other. So not really taking advantage of any slipstream.
But looking at the splits, Thomas slightly gaining down this straight, so I wonder, not close enough for a move into the chase. But Joel does get a little bit wheel spin, and that allows Thomas, he goes down the inside, and is that Bongo ahead going off the track? So we have Thomas back into 3rd, and contact between Thomas and Joel, which has allowed Bongo to maintain his position, and no points have moved, no positions have changed at the end of all of that. But Joel giving Thomas a little bit of a harsh treatment, but they're still side by side, they're still within tenths of each other.
Yeah, Bongo will be counting his blessings on there. I think he made a mistake and maybe got some wheel spin on the exit.
So we
put him off to the side of the track.
We mentioned Joel is an aggressive driver, but I don't think he's giving anything worse than he's receiving at the moment. Breaking into Quarry Bend, Thomas going wide, but managing to keep it on the track. And we're now going into the cutting, a potential overtaking spot if you dare to brake late up the inside line. Almost thought Thomas was going to go for it there, but Joel cutting across because he lost control of his car.
Yeah, Joel's still on the defense right now. He can't attack Bongo without risking Thomas taking advantage of it.
And he also
Further
can
down the
choose
order,
the racing line he wants. Sorry.
Yeah. Further down the order, we have Ollie closing in on the back of Martin.
And you would anticipate that this would be a very easy move for Ollie to make given his qualifying pace, but this is the race, the fuel load is very different, and Martin going heavily into the barriers there, which is going to allow Ollie to catch up even more. And does he look for an overtake as we go into the S's? Over Skyline we go, thinks about a dive, he doesn't make the dive, he lets Martin claim the position. But into the dipper, Martin really does lose it. Ollie on the inside. What a brilliant move as the camera's got a little bit lost there. But that is now Ollie up into 6th position. He's going to be catching up to Joel. And that is going to make for an amazing race if Ollie does manage to do so. He has 8 laps remaining. I think he has the pace in him to catch up. And that is going to lead to a 5-car battle.
Yeah, currently Thomas made the move on Joel, except Joel is still on Thomas right now, and then Thomas is on Tom Bongo.
There's too many Toms in this championship. That is the one thing we've already learned. So we've tried to use the names consistently.
I vote we change it to the Tom Championship.
Where everyone has a TomTom sat-nav and they almost follow it wherever they go. But we're watching on board with the racing. Thomas and Bongo are very close to each other. Potentially there is going to be a move very shortly, only half a second between them. AJ has pulled away. He has now got a 2-second gap. So that might be his race set. And if the race finishes in this position, you'll have to say AJ will be winning the championship. But
yeah,
Thomas going really wide.
I don't know if he's close enough to try and catch Alfie. Alfie's pace and consistency seems to be on his side today.
Well, already a 13-second lead as we've entered the halfway point of this race. If that continues to grow, then you have to say what a drive from Alfie. This will be his first race win. He's never won a race before, only got a podium last race. What a phenomenal rate of improvement, and if we do go into season 2, he's going to be one to watch out for certain.
Definitely in the championship fight. Bongo brushes the wall there, gives Thomas a bit of an invoice into making a move, maybe.
And Bongo losing it into Forrest's elbow, and that's allowed Thomas to go through. Bongo thankfully rotated enough so that he wasn't stuck, but Joel is now challenging him for 4th position as we go down Conrod Straight. Joel's surely going to have the pace he needs going into the chase to get the move done. He's right up the bumper now. Where does Bongo go? How hard does he defend this? Does he take the inside? Does he take the outside? We're going through the kink. Joel taking the inside. Very sensible there. Bongo giving him the room he needs. That's put Joel on the outside of the chase, but he cannot get the overtake done, and Bongo retains the position after making a mistake.
That was a brilliant bit of racing there, and good patience from Joel there to not force the issue. As I say that.
Well, to be fair, Bongo lost it going around that corner, and I don't think Joel had anywhere to go.
I would not fault Joel for that. That is, as good as he can really do. Getting up into 4th place now. 16 seconds is the gap between AJ and Alfie. It's slowly increasing.
You say slowly, but if you ask me, that's a phenomenal rate around this track. I'm very, very much impressed with Alfie's pace, as he's already overtaken the last place position, Harold, who, granted, didn't get much practice, didn't get much qualifying time either. It's great to have him with us, but already being lapped as we've now gone over the halfway mark. 6 laps remaining, and what a beautiful slide. Alfie coming through the dipper there. He's got this car absolutely nailed.
Yeah, Alfie, he is flying right now.
Drifting into Forrest's elbow.
It's so good to see.
He's fearless. Everyone else struggling, daring not to touch the accelerator from fear of spinning, and Alfie's drifting it around Forrest's elbow.
Yeah, I just got the notification there, Thomas
has span with, he made contact with Harold, and he is really struggling to get correctly in the right way. Joel has gone through. Bongo has gone through. Ollie has also gone through.
Oh no, I think he had a bit of an issue with
Harold. He's made contact
there.
with a back marker.
That's taken him out of the third position. That he got so close to AJ. I saw the notification pop up when there was a 1 second gap, but that's I think that's ruined his race there. That's
I don't think he has much of a chance of getting back onto the podium, but Ollie and Bongo, you have to say, will be close enough for him to make a run if he does have the pace still left in that car. Ollie's car very much looking worse for wear. You don't really recognise it as part of this category anymore. It looks more like a standard saloon car. It's so crushed up.
well, you made the joke about a demolition derby, so there you go. There's your demolition derby.
And so far, no one pitting, as you mentioned. You don't expect any pit stops, but if the tyres do fade away, you never know. You might see someone make a move. There is a point for the fastest lap, and there is honour in getting the fastest lap, so someone might decide to do so. And with this pit lane, if Alfie's pace continues, he might actually have enough of a gap where if he wants to, he could come into the pits and then go for that fastest lap again. Although, saying that, he's currently got it at a 2 minutes 7 seconds. And I don't think anyone's got what it takes to beat that race pace today.
Yeah, I'll bring up the timing sheet here. You can see the damage. It's last lap for Alfie, a 2:07. AJ pulled a 2:09. Joel with a 2:10, which is faster than what Bongo is currently lapping at. 4 tenths, or just over 3 tenths quicker. And of course, the current best lap, a 2:07 from Alfie, set
and that
on
was his last lap, which is incredible.
That's really impressive.
Let's drop the timing screen, go back to the racing, because we have Ollie and Bongo within a second of each other. Ollie getting a major slide, but controls it very sensibly and expertly done, I must say. So Bongo, someone who absolutely hates this circuit. AJ, also someone who hates this circuit. Currently, AJ second, Bongo fourth. Joel, absolutely a standout star so far this race, in third position. And Alfie, what an improvement from Alfie. From the podium last race to race winner so far this race. I don't want to jinx him just yet, but 9 laps have been. As we now once again go into Murray's corner. Ollie too far back to make a move on Bongo. He just needs to keep the car linked up around the circuit, as I was expecting Bongo to lose it worse than he did, but that has brought Ollie into half a second. And Bongo really not using the full width of the track there going into the first corner. He seems a little bit tentative every time he hits the brakes.
Yeah, I think given everything that's already happened this race, he'll be wanting to be conservative until like the last 2 laps, in which he'll start to push again. He's sort of just got to get himself settled back into his rhythm, because he obviously has the pace, and so does Ollie. So he'll be aware of Ollie's presence. Will he put up a good fight though as he goes into the wall?
And that's brought up right on the back of each other. Now down to 3 tenths. You can see Joel up in the distance. They're both gaining, but Bongo having a terrible lap so far in the mountain section. And Ollie's going to be thinking, where can I get the overtake done? You can't quite do it around these sections. These are very fast corners, and if you go off, you're going to be in the wall or in the gravel trap to our right of us here, keeping it sensible. But does he think about making a move over Skyline? He's too far back this time through. But Bongo really struggling, and he clips the wall once again. Ollie following him, unfortunately for him, into the dipper. And Bongo, I think, getting really lucky there that Ollie followed him into that tyre barrier.
Yeah, Bongo closing up on Joel. I think Joel made a mistake just off screen there.
And now down the Conrod Straight once again. 10 laps have been and gone, 4 remaining. This is a section where the drivers can really relax and rest, because you don't get a chance to do that anywhere else. Through this little kink into the chase. Bongo defending the inside line. Ollie, a lunge out of nowhere, but goes too deep. No, he keeps it on the track. The That was absolutely amazing, but contact made between Ollie and Bongo, and there goes Thomas through, up into 4th position. I think that was Bongo on his
Ollie
side
and
there.
Bongo, yeah. Both got caught out, and that allows Martin to get through. Martin, as he rejoins the track and goes straight to Bongo.
So Bongo's been forced into the pit lane. Contact all over the place there. Well, now that the dust has hopefully settled for at least a little period, let's do a rundown. So Alfie still in first with a 21-second lead. AJ in second, Joel third. 4th is Thomas after his contact or spin earlier. He is now back up on the heels of a podium position. Ollie's in 5th after a terrible start. What a brilliant recovery he's made. Martin in 6th, and falling down the order is Bongo in 7th, who I believe went into the pits, or did he avoid the pit lane?
I'm
not quite sure.
Yeah, he had to reverse back. Obviously, he got forced into the pit entry, but unless you actually cross the line, it doesn't actually put you into the automatic pit stop. So I think he got very lucky there to be able to reverse the car out. Still, big shame though, because yeah, that as he loses the rear end there,
And I think Bongo
the
really has
nerves
had
are
enough of
getting
this.
to him now.
I think he's had enough of this set of tyres. He's screaming for a new pair of boots, but that obviously will hamper his race, and that would allow Ben to almost come through. Although saying that, Ben is 1 minute almost behind.
Yeah, Rowan within 5 seconds of Ben.
And just because we've missed it, I believe Harold actually is a DNF right now. It looks like he's dropped out of this race.
Yeah, I believe that would be going into the pits and just retiring the car. I believe that's because of what happened with Thomas. Obviously their contact, which put Thomas right the way back down the order. Still a 4-second gap though between Thomas and the 3rd place podium Joel.
So Rowan, although he has a major fan base, currently down at the back of the grid. Ruben, unfortunately, not with us this race either. But it's been brilliant having everyone taking part. We've had some brilliant races. And the fact that we have 10 people showing up for the final race, I think does show that this season has legs and that a second season will be on the cards when we get a chance to have a bit of a break.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we would like to get more people on, but yeah, we have a decent amount of drivers.
We have a decent amount of drivers, and more importantly, their skill level is actually really well matched. As Alfie once again drifting through Forest Elbow. But as I was saying, the skill level of the drivers is quite similar, which has led to some brilliant racing. The improvement that we've seen from Alfie and Joel is being shown in this race alone. Alfie on the heels of his first race victory, and Joel also on the heels of his first podium. When we get to the end of this race, I cannot wait to see who we're going to be interviewing, because honestly, to be able to talk to Joel on the podium from Silverstone, we never thought that would happen.
Yeah, he's obviously, you can tell he's made his improvements. He's got so much better.
And if I was to ask you to give a brief overview of this race, Jason, do you think you could do it? Because so much has happened, I cannot keep track of everything.
I reckon it would be possible to do a brief overview of it. I mean, Alfie has been running away with it. AJ has taken advantage of some battles going on between pretty much 2nd to 6th place at this point in the
Well, even 7th place with Bongo, you have to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Joel as well, he's been able to take advantage of the first corner, which got him up into this position. But obviously he's had to defend that pretty heavily, and is now going to have to defend that for 2 more laps from Thomas,
who is gaining now only 7/10 behind Joel. He was 8/10 going into Murray's corner. So on the penultimate lap, 2 laps remaining for Thomas to try and track down that podium spot, the last step on the podium. Third place, I think, is the best he can hope to achieve unless Alfie and AJ run into trouble. And I do not believe he will be challenged by Ollie at all. Thomas really does seem to be in the clear and ready to attack. Joel on the defensive, Thomas on the aggression side of things, and through the inside of the cutting, Thomas with a brilliant line. Is Joel by his side? It's hard to tell from this camera angle, but with the room that Thomas has given him, Joel goes down the inside. What a brilliant lunge, and that's brought them side by side. This track is not very wide. This is going to be challenging, and a side swipe by Joel. Not intentional, but I think he just lost control of the car a little bit through the elevation changes. And now Thomas has it all to do again. The gap is opened up to 1.5 seconds going into the S's. I think Thomas has the pace, though, to maybe catch up with him, especially if Joel makes a slight error around this track. The penultimate lap, you have to say, unfortunate for Joel to make contact, but it was so close. I'm not sure you could really pin the blame on either of them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we saw in qualifying how difficult it is to actually run through there just as a single car. But trying to put two cars is like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. Just doesn't work.
But all of that contact has actually allowed Ollie only 2 seconds now behind Thomas. So we might still see a three-way battle for third position as we enter into the final corner. Through the chase for the second last time. Thomas on the grass. Ollie is going to be watching this, studying Thomas's line. Where can he get the overtake done? He had such a good qualifying session. He deserves a higher position in the standings than this. Thomas struggling to get out of Murray's corner. So we are now on for the final lap of Bathurst. 14 laps. And it has all come down to this. Alfie 28 seconds ahead of the pack. AJ in second. And a battle for third place on the podium. Joel, Thomas and Ollie in that order. I can't wait to see how this finishes. And saying that, Martin has actually entered the pits.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see him in there so late.
Especially as the fastest lap. He won't be able to get the fastest lap because you need a complete lap to be able to put a time in.
Yeah, that's throwing me off there. I don't know why he's gone in.
Let's go back on board with Ollie as we now see the pair, all three of them I should say. So Martin maybe just wants a rest. This race has been very intense and he just needs a breather. That's put him down into 7th. But we're currently watching this battle for third as we're going through the mountain for the last time.
Ollie a bit slow on that corner there. He could have, or he mounted the curve a bit too much, couldn't carry as much speed, so he can't close up onto the back of Thomas there. You can see the smoke coming from Thomas's tyres as he locks up.
So everyone keeping it clean. Ollie choosing for a very tight line going into Forest Elbow. Now, the final straight of this circuit, the Conrod Straight. Who is going to be able to gain? 7 tenths between Thomas and Ollie. The gap between Thomas and Joel, thank you for helping me out, is 4 tenths. And Thomas is gaining, staying slightly in the slipstream, but sticking to the racing line. Is it going to be a late lunge into the chase? Thomas thinking better of it. Brilliant defending by Joel. He did not go too deep. And you have to say, into Murray's corner, this is going to be Joel's first podium, unless Thomas decides to do something daring into Murray's corner. And he does look at it, but giving the space to Joel. A little bit of tap on the rear, but doesn't turn Joel around. And then a massive swipe into Joel. And there's absolute chaos between all three of them. Thomas getting the final podium position. Ollie in 4th, and Joel, you have to say, has been robbed now in 5th position of his first podium of the season. There will be a major debrief about that, I am sure. But congratulations to Alfie on his first win of the season, of the championship. And what a race that was. Utter carnage for 14 laps, and we're now watching the destruction take place. Take a breather, Jason, and let's just take note of what took place this race as I bring in our podium positions.
Yeah, honestly, that final corner there will definitely be some words about that, because I think Joel definitely got robbed of that. That was a really brave lunge there, but
And I always forget. Can someone remind me, what's Alfie's name?
Alfie is Spineski and Kettle, I'm pretty sure, in this Discord.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Jason. And I believe you've got a bit of photoshopping to do, so please do let me know when that's come my way. But
Yep, I
we
shall do.
have to say from the beginning, congratulations to Alfie, your first race win of the season. How does that feel?
Hello, thank you. Good to be back again after not being here for a little, well, not being here at all. 2 races in a row.
I know, we were talking throughout the race. You've had such an amazing progression in this season. You were achieving 5th positions quite constantly in the early parts, but then you've just improved and improved, where you're now a race winner at Bathurst, one of the most challenging circuits we've raced at.
Yeah, I mean, I really love this track. I did quite a few laps on a time trial, and you know, the V8 supercar and the track. It all just felt so good, and we just went from there and just kept improving, and then won the race by 30 seconds.
Absolutely amazing. And it was a very demanding, or commanding, I should say, race win. You managed to avoid a lot of chaos behind you. Going into that first corner, what was your thoughts?
Well, at first I didn't really know if I'd be on the outside or the inside. So starting on the outside, it was a bit of a surprise. But I just focused on getting a bit of a cutback and getting a good exit, and then challenged Thomas from there.
And you did a great job, managed the race from there, got the race win. Congratulations. To second place, AJ, who is the championship winner. I don't know if you knew that going into this race, but woohoo! We have our championship winner.
Oh, thank you. It's been not the way I wanted to win. I'll admit it was a difficult race. Alfie, absolutely class. He's absolutely wiped the floor with us, and I hope Ellie's off getting you a big bowl of ice cream because you deserve it after that race, to be honest. But yeah, happy to win the championship. It's been a difficult one, I'll admit. Plenty of races which haven't quite gone my way, but yeah, I came through at the end there and got what I needed. And yeah, but what a race! Massively difficult, but huge overtakes and stuff. And yeah, it was really, really good fun, that.
Well, we have to say, me and Jason, we were very shocked and confused at your qualifying performance. You really did seem to be struggling. So to get that second place, what a brilliant drive.
Yeah, the race I just managed to keep it clean, keep it consistent as best I could. Had a couple of scrapes with the wall, but I'm sure everyone did. But qualifying, I just could not put it together. I've been saying to Tom over the past week and so, I hate the circuit, I hate the cars. I've really had to put a lot of work in it, and luckily managed to avoid all the chaos at the start. And here we are now, and second place. I'm more than happy. And yeah,
Championship winner as well. Let's not forget that. You are the winner of the first season, and hopefully we will do another one. So, third position, Thomas. What an amazing qualifying lap you put in there. Me and Jason were absolutely gobsmacked. Top 4 qualification places would have beat the lap record. I couldn't believe it. You and Ollie battling for that podium spot.
Yeah, I think it was Joel. Was it Joel at the end, or? Wait,
Oh, I'm talking about qualifying. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't realise the strategy behind hitting onto softs, because I thought the qualifying would be done on hards, so I didn't really realise what to do until someone said earlier. But then once I realised I could do the qualifying on softs, I was much happier, and I could just stay out for the whole half hour basically, just trying to improve over my lap and not really focusing on the leaderboard, just trying to sort of do my personal best that I think I did. So I'm pleased with that. I'm pleased with qualifying.
And
pleased with how that went.
you notice I started with qualifying because it went so well, but the race was such a shame.
A shame that a couple of mistakes made me lose the win in the end, but not a shame how it was a pretty good recovery drive with the amount of mistakes I did, and also a couple of crashes that I couldn't avoid. Not mentioning anyone, Joel twice in a row. But in the end, I still managed to get onto the podium, so I'm very happy with that.
Well, it was incredibly. It was very tense watching you, Ollie, and Joel on that last lap. All 3 of you going down the Conrod Straight. I was wondering if you were going to do a dive going into the chase, but you waited to the last corner to make your move. Kind of stuck, although I must say it did lead to a minor pile-up between all 3 of you. But Joel, going from third down into fifth, and Ollie with a recovery drive of his own into fourth position. You started the season a little bit late, so unfortunately you weren't able to challenge AJ for the championship, but if we do a second season, do you think you have a chance?
If we do a second season, it would be absolutely great to be in with a chance for winning. But we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see what happens.
We will. And Ben, thank you for joining us. How was that race for you?
Interesting. I couldn't get off the mark in qualifying, that's my bad, but it's just straight. I was out of back, and someone, I won't say who, completely tried to, on purpose, ruin my race, and unfortunately it locked my wheel, my force feedback, so I had about 50% turn radius going left and 150% going right. So I could turn right really well, but I couldn't turn left, and unfortunately it's an anti-clockwise course, so
well, it's nice to know that you had a little bit of troubles to overcome. What do you think? Should we do a second season, as you are the man behind GP memes?
Absolutely. When? I have no idea, but absolutely.
No, I think everyone in this chat will definitely agree. We need a bit of a break before we do another run of races, and maybe it'll be a different schedule rather than the back-to-back events, because taking time to practice has been a challenge for some.
Might be some duo teams as well. So if you're watching and you want to get involved, because the more the merrier. It's good fun.
Exactly. This is open to everyone. All abilities, controllers, ABS, just chuck it all on. Whatever you need to go racing. It's all about having fun. And, well, from my perspective, that race was absolutely brilliant to watch and was so much fun. Thank you everyone for being a part of it. This is the final race of the season. We don't have another race planned just yet, but I'm sure Ben will be putting something out on the Discord and on his Instagram as well. So please stay tuned to what we're doing. I can't wait to see you all again. From the rest of us, take care and have a brilliant evening.